What a time, eh? I was recalling through all of the different things I've been exploring and looking at here recently that one of the big functions of our really all of our work, but especially the love in action, the integrity play, is to be able to enjoy more and more being alive just in this moment that like the integrity skills allow you to be open to the joy of being alive, and they also remove the debris that gets in the way of your just feeling the aliveness in your body and in your interactions with others. And so regardless of what's going on out there, we have the ability to return to the kind of alignment that allows us to let the universe move through us effectively. And that's, and to enjoy that, and also to be a source of your own aliveness, your own contact, and to be able to effectively respond, rather than being caught up in the chaos. I think that what we're doing is kind of the opposite of chaos. It's like having your own maypole that you can move around, having your own clear vision that you can return to, and like the masthead on the ship. So when there's a lot of motion, if you look in the middle of the motion, there's always an alignment that allows energy to come through directly. And so I want to be continuing to experiment with you with that, particularly with the integrity skills. And it occurred to me that as we're doing the loop of awareness, the heart of loop of awareness is being able to shift your attention and actually choosing to shift your attention. And that skill both has its rhythm. So as you're just starting to do that here, so you're noticing other people in the group, and then I'd like you to notice your body sensations, and then notice what's going on around you, and then notice your body sensations. That shift, as you're doing that, I'd like you to notice that what's involved in that is your pace, how fast or slow you're doing that. And that's one of the things that I'd like you to experiment with today, but also to experiment with combining something that some of you may have known and some of you may not know, which is creative joint play. So our response to chaos can either be to sort of dissolve or to get more rigid. And when we get more rigid, to go, for safety, that doesn't enable us to respond effectively to what's going on. So just a little bit of creative joint play, that is to let your body move in some ways that you haven't been moving, and they can be big or they can be small. I see I see Miriam doing standing up, which is wonderful, just doing, letting your whole body, but you can also, just moving your shoulders in some new way, letting your spine move. And as you're doing that, I'd like you to see if you can combine your creative joint play with your loop of awareness. And so, because when we get frozen, when I get frozen, when humans get frozen, it cuts off your perception. You perceive movement. Our eyes perceive movement, and if there's no movement, we can go into, okay, danger here, or if there's a lot of movement. But if you're creating your own flow, so as you're doing creative joint play, notice, is there any place, like for me, my knees have been cranky lately because I'm going through another layer of detox with this medication. And what I've been finding really most effective is little new movements through my knees. Not kind of trying to push through or stretch it out, but just little movements that they haven't really done. And then I can feel, oh, that's connected to the top part of my hip, and I can let my hip move in a new way. So as I'm noticing, I can do my creative joint play with some part of my body, and then I can continue that while I'm letting my attention go out and continue that while I'm bringing my attention back to me. And I'd like you to do that for a couple of minutes and then notice. Well, I'll ask you the question in a minute. So letting your attention get combined with, oh, and your face. So probably we hold more of the, the oh my God in our faces. So doing creative joint play with your face, which is basically making faces while you're doing your loop of awareness. Just try that on. So moving your, there's a new stuff that's showing up on Instagram about, like facial yoga, or you can kind of, like you can stick your tongue out and then move your head in different ways in there. So the different places in your face that you haven't moved, particularly your jaw, because your jaw is the last place in your body where you can voluntarily kind of say no, you can't make me. And so we carry a lot of wanting to bite people's heads off in our jaws. So rather than doing that, you could do a little bit of and as I do that, I feel my breath opening and deepening, and then I get different dimensions. So we often just have like 2 dimensions, open, close, that we move our joints in, but there's spirals and there's different directions. So just playing with this throughout the week, I think as I'm doing it just this few minutes, I'm feeling more flow of aliveness in me. And I'd like you to just check, even from just this little bit, whether you're feeling more flow in you. Yeah, so, and I can see some of you pinked up. Yeah, Sherry, you've pinked up. Patricia, you've pinked up. Yeah, Miriam, you've pinked up. Yeah, so that's one of the ways that I know that I'm getting more flow, is that I don't have that sort of washed out, drained feeling. And we can revive ourselves with just a couple of minutes of loop of awareness. I'm connecting out here. And one of the things I also like to notice when I'm noticing out here is how is the world doing creative joint play? Because if you look at, the leaves are moving, the birds are moving, we have little geckos who's, and I can try on those movements. I was doing my rehab in the pool the other day, and I was talking to Gay, who was sitting out in a chair, and we were conversing, and then a hawk, and it was a hawk that I had seen, my first hawk in a long time, came back to visit us again and soared around. And so I was letting myself feel that soaring that I can experience inside. So it allows us to feel connected with the movement of life that's going on around us all the time. And anytime you need a little refreshment, just combining your loop of awareness with creative joint play. And we have, of course, a lot of the directions for loop of awareness on the website, but we also have the directions for creative joint play. So you can find those on both of our websites if you want to get a little refreshment, or if you want to have somebody guide you through it so you can just sort of be in the exploration without having to invent it. So all of these, when we're stuck in our movement, and we're stuck in our breath, and we're stuck in our looping, which is a form of conscious moving. We're moving our attention, and that is really fluffing things up. It's like shaking out the sheets, or fluffing up the pillows, or opening up the windows to let in more. So just take a moment and celebrate, and notice if there's any other little place in you that's going, hey, what about me? You forgot about me. So sometimes I forget my feet. Sometimes I forget the back of my body and focus more on the front of my body. So as you're exploring this, my sense is that your body's going to go, hey, me, and ask for your attention. And then you can get more connection with the ongoing flow in your body. So that's the first thing that I wanted to play with you with. And then it occurred to me that the antidote to everything awful that's going on in the world right now is living in integrity. I think this is what the integrity skills were made for. I created them, the cards, about 10 years ago, and we've been practicing, and here we are. This is the time where our integrity skills are going to make a huge difference. And the importance of them is not necessarily morality. It is living in alignment with the flow of life. And as we're practicing the integrity skills, particularly agreements, I'm going to take now several weeks to focus in our meetings on impeccable agreements. And then I'm going to move to another one, and I'm going to focus on those cards for a number of weeks, so that we're doing a little review of the value of each one of these pillars. And it occurred to me that from the Magna Carta on, our society is based on agreements. What we think of as laws and rules, and I can't do that, and you can't do that, those are all the accumulation of centuries of agreements. And whether we keep those agreements with each other or not really allows us to function. Like, there's a bridge that's just opening now. It's been delayed between the US and Canada. It's over on the East Coast. It's this beautiful bridge. And it literally bridges, our agreements bridge, either between countries, between people, between nations. And when we keep our agreements, we have it, like, this is what people get, policing each other, and agreements are about you didn't and yes you did, and then we get into arguments, and then we get into wars. And, either a little war or a big war. But if I am acting in alignment with my agreements, what that opens up is the same kind of flow as we were just practicing, of letting the universe move through you. And the agreements, like, it took me years to really get impeccable. Our pillar is called Impeccable Agreements. So when you're impeccable, there's nothing in the way of whatever the impulse is, the next action, your next creative impulse, your next reaching out to someone. I have found more and more is that when I'm living in integrity, my actions are in response to what's wanting to move through me and what's needed out here. I don't have to, and the other thing is, you're not doing it from your head. You're not trying to figure it out or think through it. You're letting your whole body be in response, and everything you've ever learned and everything you've ever experienced is in service of what's wanting to emerge right now. So emergence, rather than recycling, is really the great benefit of living more and more in integrity. And so today I'd like you to, let's have the card come up, the picture for the card, and I'd love for you to let yourself do your creative joint play with your loop of awareness while you go into the picture, and then you come back into noticing you, and continuing to do that while I read you first the sentence here. I recognize, appreciate, and celebrate my whole body aliveness when I keep my agreements. I recognize, appreciate, and celebrate my whole body aliveness when I keep my agreements. And those, by the way, are with yourself as well as with others. And those are often the ones that are like the shadow agreements, the ones that we go, oh, that's not as important. And the question is, the wonderful which is also a wonderful way to open flow and to shift out of your critical brain into your creative brain. How can I experience the increased aliveness that comes from keeping my agreements? How can I experience the increased aliveness that comes from keeping my agreements. So the short form of that is I do what I say I'm going to do, and I don't do what I say I'm not going to do. So that's the short form. And what often will come up is all of the old stuff about people trying to make you do things you didn't want to do, or getting into power struggles with people, rather than really focusing on, oh, I said I was going to take the clothes out to the laundry, and I did that. And there's for me, there's a distinct feeling in my body that I call it this openness and ease. So ease and flow, which we've talked about for years, ease and flow really comes from not having the crosswise debris that comes from, oops, I forgot, or I didn't know, fuzzy agreements, and I thought you were going to do that, and those kinds of things, rather than clarifying that. So take a moment to notice, like, let yourself celebrate something recently where you said you were going to do or said you were not going to do. And then notice the body sensations of, yeah, I did that. Or no, I didn't do that. So, and that's what you're going to be continuing to enjoy as you're practicing. And I love this picture. I think this is from Kirsten. I think that's a picture of her as a little girl, or this is a real person. I forget exactly who it is. It gets to that joy. And you'll also notice that you get open to creativity. You get open to the vast space in the universe opening up. And as a result of not pushing yourself, blaming yourself, or making yourself, but choosing to do what you say you're going to do and not do what you say you're not going to do. And also just want to remind you that for me, it took several years for me to really get impeccable about that. So also committing and recommitting, that is a skill that I think will be of service to you. So let's come on back to the big group. And we're going to be getting into this also with agreements, because it has to do with our inner yeses and nos, which for me, and I think for people whom I've coached, that's really your biggest distinction inside is, am I wanting to move toward this, or am I wanting to move away from it? And that yes and no is such a great guideline. So you're not having to have all of these reasons. One of the things I'm seeing showing up on social media are these long posts. This just with the history of everything and and first of all, that's an intellectual discussion. That's not your real experience in the moment. And there's a much more efficient way of doing this, which is do your yes, your inner yes and no, and then letting those guide you. So I'd love for you this week to let yourself do a little inventory of I said I was going to do it and I didn't. So this is a place where incompletes can come up for your exploration. So this would be a great time for you to put, and you know what we should do? Because we have, I'm going into a whole other thing. So we have the new circle is up on Love in Action. Yes, so that's up on Mighty Network, so you can come and join. And so one of the things I'd like to have us put up there is some of the stuff we have on incompletions, Michelle. So we can, because that comes with agreement. So I go, oh gosh, I didn't do that. Or, I thought I had done that, but I didn't complete it. Or there it is in my closet. Oh my God, I thought that I had returned it. So those, and my suggestion is to you, start a list. Start a list so that you're not having to keep it in your head. And I find that each one of my incompletions that I then complete creates more aliveness, but also just more ability for me to respond to life from joy rather than from, oh my God. So also there's just there's so much chaos going on right now that I want to have us have the pillars really be our mast in the storm, which can also turn into our maypole, because it doesn't. Who I forget who said that the mystic is swimming in the same river that most people are drowning in. So as if you're in, or if you think of Finding Nemo, I don't know if that very old movie, but slipstream. So being in integrity allows you to move into the slipstream where you're in the right place at the right time and you're getting the kind of support you want. So it's not like this is, I got to be good. This is, do I want to live at source, or do I want to live at the effect of everything going on? And so our choices to be in integrity also ripple out. They will be magnets for people who are open to, and just your presence is going to allow other people to osmose, like, oh, there's more open space here. Oh, I feel more freedom. Oh, here's what I want to do. So you're seeding your Johnny Appleseeds, of integrity as you show up in the world. But you get to benefit. You don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to be a martyr. You can be enjoying more ease and flow and be the invitation for others to enjoy that also. So, one of the things that I'm noticing is that I am not phlegmy today. And after many, now we don't know if this is going to hold, but there's something quite different because I did have my coffee today. I did have some cream today. So I am imagining that I'm removing gunk. So, obviously from my, I'm long COVID gunk is leaving, but I also am just feeling more, tendrils of aliveness. And so I invite you, those moves that you make, which may seem like, it's just a drop in the bucket, have impact that you can enjoy. So now, let me just go to Presence, Connect, Play and see what it has for us today. Presence, essence pace. Oh, you could practice your loop of awareness in essence pace. So you could do your moving around, find your essence pace, and then letting that be a cue, or it could go both ways. You could be doing your loop of awareness and what's your essence pace today, and then letting that take you as you're moving around in the world. Somebody, one of my longtime colleagues who was an apprentice back when, before the LAT program, it was the apprentice program. And so one of my longtime colleagues was saying that essence pace has been the most effective thing that she uses with her business consultations and in her own life. When she drops into essence pace, suddenly choices are easier. She notices new things, but also, again, it's the joy of being alive. So it's not like you got to accomplish that thing or get that thing done. It's, how am I enjoying this moment? And, the aliveness and the flow in my body as I'm moving from one place to another. So essence pace can be with your breathing, not just as you're walking from place to place, as you're working on a project. Are you letting yourself be in essence pace with that? So I invite you to add that in. And essence pace allows you to be present and to be aware of others. So very often we give our presence to others, or we tuck into our own fort. But in essence pace, you can be in your essence pace, and it can be an invitation to others to move into theirs as well. Connect. Connect is probably the most challenging thing right now. Choose to see others as allies on your team. So where I would start with that is in your own neighborhood. So choosing to see others as your allies, the people who are like, I've had another high entropy time where a bunch of things have broken, like the dishwasher broken, blah, 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 and then people would be saying, well, I'm going to be there, we'll get the part in 2 days and then we'll come and fix it. And so one part that was going to be here in 2 days took 2 weeks, and another one took 9 days. And so one of those things was on a turnaround that had sort of, it was a pantry that I'd had for 25 years and it broke. And so I had stuff on my counters in the kitchen for 2 weeks, like, pasta and, beans and stuff. And so choosing to see others as my allies in that allowed me to make different shifts of, instead of, being a policeman for people, you said that you were going to bring that, which of course didn't make the part get here any faster, but allowed me to go, okay, now given that that's going on, what else can I do? And what I did was to use that energy of seeing things out on the counter to clean out 2 drawers in my bathroom that I swear had not been cleaned out in 10 years. I opened one of them and I couldn't see anything in it because it was just piled up with stuff. And so I went and I cleaned that out, and the sense of flow, and also I can open that drawer and I see what's in there, and I have lots of donations I could send to. We have a homeless camp here in Ojai, so I've got lots of little soaps and things that we're going to take over to them. And so it created this sense of, okay, at what level can I see others as my allies? So there's some people that the allyship that I've been able to create to the present moment is, we're all humans. Now I can do that. We're humans. And that's about, so when I go to the next level, it's like, can't get through that gate. And there are people, if I'm willing to see others, people will be showing up. And people often who are surprising, like some grumpy neighbor, says hi to me as he's going by in the morning. So there is magic that can occur without you having to police. So if you're willing to see others as allies and on your team, you're also creating a new through line. Not like we have to fight it out or I need to be right, but I'm willing to see you as on my team. So remember, the Magna Carta was several centuries ago. That through line is really, seeing people as allies. We all have rights. That's a move that comes from being willing to see others as allies. So the things that we have control over, that's what I'm encouraging all of us to move from, rather than all of the things that we have no control over that are really a shit show right now. And we can return to, yes, I'm noticing, I'm shifting my awareness, and I'm generating more love and connection. Play. I hadn't seen this one before. Go in the direction of flow. I love that one. Like, yay, I'm so glad that showed up. I guess I was ready for it, or maybe we all are ready for it. So almost always when we're in a choice point, people will go in the direction of safety. Will go in the direction of what's wrong and how can I correct it, or what's wrong with you and how can I make sure you know that. So what would be the direction of flow? Like, where are things wanting to go right now? So it may be very simple of just pausing and breathing for a moment. It may be going, hold on a second, I'm not ready. It's often just a little, or, like I play with this with my cat Allie often, because she'll make a mama and then I'll be looking at, okay, where are we going? What's the direction of flow here? It's very often what we call turn left, because when you go out of our bedroom and the first left is into the exercise room where the crunchies are. So she'll go in there because she'll go, crunchies? Okay, so crunchies, it's like whatever we are, crunchies. So, but often it'll be something else, and I'll look at her and I go, oh, you want to do flopsies, don't you? And then boom, over she goes, and she's wanting attention. So if you're just intending to go in the direction of flow rather than the direction of working on ourselves. So, that's often the one like, oh, I'm still fat, or oh, the kitchen is still filthy, or I didn't do that thing. But going in the direction of flow is almost always first giving your attention. So then you could use your creative joint play and your loop of awareness. And then it's very often just a simple turning toward. So one of the moves that goes with flow is turning toward what's actually happening rather than going away from what's happening. So the three of those, I invite you to write those down because I think in combination they're going to be really great. So essence pace is to be aware of you and aware of others, and choosing to see others as allies and going in the direction of flow. Because one of the things I'm still playing with is combining those. And what does it look like in any interaction when we combine those? So one suggestion is if you have an appointment, you're going into a meeting, you're going to be meeting with a client, where there's something that's going to be happening, that you can prepare for that by getting into your essence pace and choosing to see this other person as your ally. And then as what's the flow right in this moment? What's the direction of flow? Because that's not a recipe, it's more of an open question of what it is the slipstream. So the direction of flow is what's going to take me into the slipstream. And for me, what was just coming up was that often between where I am now and slipstream is fear. So like, oh, that slipstream is going really fast, or I don't know where it's going, or God, that's a lot of movement. And so letting myself do my fear melters, just acknowledging, oh, it's kind of scary. And then even acknowledging that the flow is recognizing what I'm feeling. So I think that it'll be a lot of fun for you. Oh, and now we have Mighty Network. So as you're experimenting, if you discover something, or you have an example, or you want to share with people, I'd like some of your attention, because that's also something we can ask for. So I plan to be seeing you over on Mighty Networks, and this is actually the circle that I'm giving my most attention to now. So this is a little hint. If you're wanting to have more attention, come on to Mighty Networks. So before I leave and you continue, I'd like to do a little bit of here I am, and I'm so glad. And letting that, you can combine that with creative joint play. Here I am, and I'm so glad. So glad for all of you. Thank you so much for being in this experiment. We're on the raft together, so just stay on the ride and yeah, beautiful. All right, so thank you so much, and until next time, mwah, see you on Mighty Networks.